I'm just gonna start us recording and we can go with our normal route. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. I know it's getting a bit later there. You're missing the third period of the Leafs game,
That's all right.
and we've had 2 weeks off, so it's gonna take a little bit.
Long time.
Yeah, a little bit get back into the swing of things, but
Yeah,
it's good.
I like the jersey though.
I know. Thank you. Kristen got it for me for Christmas, so love her lots for that. But
Looking good.
don't have a lot of jerseys to switch through, so I'm gonna wear this, and I'm probably not wear one. I got basically two, so between this and my Fleury one, so
I opted not to go with one today.
yeah. So I'll take the reins this time. You can only have one person, one host per for the podcast, so. So we've had 2 weeks off.
Yeah, trying to nurse myself back to full health. It's I found out today that I had asthma, or I have asthma.
Fuck, I had asthma when I was younger. Is that where you're talking? Oh, that makes sense. But some of your messages earlier now.
Yeah.
I had when I was little, I had an asthma attack in the middle of the night, and we kind of lived out in the middle of nowhere. Excuse me. And luckily, my grandpa had been visiting, and forgot his puffer there.
Yeah.
So that puffer saved my life. It's the craziest thing, because I just woke up in the middle of the night. I must have been 5 years old, and just couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe at all. Literally couldn't breathe. So just so happened. I don't know. Just fate.
It's
I
meant
guess.
to be.
Meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Meant to be. Any topics that from that you're dying to get off your chest with hockey? For me, I was kind of looking back. We hadn't talked in 2 weeks. I'm trying to think of what stood out. And I don't know if I could.
Hard.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to know where we left off and what needs to be talked about and what's priority over what. But it feels like it's been almost 3 or 4 weeks since we last chatted. But at the same time, I can't remember what the big news things are to talk about right now.
Yeah, I guess maybe we could.
Canada would be one thing. The juniors.
Yeah, the juniors, big thing. For me, I don't watch the juniors too much. It's too much.
I didn't get into them this year. I don't know what it was. I watched some of the games, but usually I make time out to watch them. Maybe it's just that I'm busy, and the games are during the afternoon, and it's hard to sit down and watch them. But
yeah, for here they're in the morning, first thing in the morning,
true.
It just doesn't flow well with the rest of the schedule.
Yeah.
I've never really, when it comes to hockey, been too much of a prospect guy such as yourself. So I don't get it up to it as much. But I think as I start to get stronger in my hockey knowledge and stuff, I might start branching in. So I'm sure eventually. Jeez, I just keep burping. Gotta stop.
Yeah, I find it so difficult because I myself can't PVR games unless I know nothing. If I do not know the outcome, if I do not know any kind of score inclination, I can watch it. As soon as I know that, even if it's I know Matthews and Marner each have a goal, I'm okay, well, until I see both their goals, I'm kind of done with not being live. So it kind of ruins it for me. So
totally
with the Canada games, that weekend specifically, I was super busy because I actually went to the Leaf game myself on Saturday night, and then I went to a Marley game on Sunday. So I was kind of out most of the weekend anyways.
Yeah.
And I missed the third period on the way down to the Marley game, and then they showed the last 5 minutes and the win and the celebration on the Jumbotron and at the Rico or Coca-Cola Coliseum, same shit.
I just don't think, maybe, I'm sure it gets a ton of coverage in Canada, it does. I don't know if it just doesn't seem, it's not the Olympics, and that's what I show up for sure. It just,
yeah, and
I think
maybe it goes hand in hand.
Pardon me?
Maybe it goes hand in hand because, none of us really remember. It was 2016 was the last country on country type event, and that was the World Cup at the beginning of the year where they just made up the teams and all that other garbage that wasn't even that official. And then it was 2000 2014, the last Olympics, Winter Olympics. What was the year? 12, right? 12.
Well, there was one in 2018
So it'd be 14
because
as the
we had
last.
2010 in Vancouver. That's with Crosby.
Oh,
The
okay,
golden
yeah.
goal.
So isn't that the last Olympic hockey we've had?
I think so. If I
So it's
recall,
been almost a decade.
Yeah, they're talking on the
So
radio today. We're like 20 days away from the 10-year anniversary of the Olympics.
maybe there's just a little less. Maybe the juniors tournament is now more about prospects and the future as opposed to getting
Countries.
behind your country. Yeah,
That's what it feels like.
yeah,
It does feel like that because it's every year, so it doesn't get the like strength behind it. The strength of a nation doesn't really get behind it the way like your mom and dad that don't watch hockey other than the Olympics or that kind of stuff.
yeah. They're like Olympic people or something like that, and it's more about a sport of the Olympics as opposed to being hockey or anything like that. So
And I heard that they've been talking about that I forget what the acronym for the Olympics, the IIHF or whatever.
IIHF.
Yeah. So apparently they want a decision or something like relatively soon because I guess the next Winter Olympics is going to be 2022. They need some sort of decision from the NHL like soon. Like they're gonna have to figure it out this year or like within a year or else.
Yeah. Well, where is 2022?
Where is it? I want to say it's in Japan, but that might have been 2018 was in Japan.
Yeah, Beijing.
No, you're looking at 2020 probably.
It says 2022.
Oh yeah. You're right. Yeah, sorry.
In the Hebei province.
Beijing was selected, so Beijing's gonna get it twice in like 14 years or whatever. That's kind of unreal. That's kind of weird. I guess it's winter this time and they had summer last time, but still, I find that strange.
What's going to be 2024? Do we know?
I think so. I think they're all the way up to. Oh no, that's World Cup 2026. Because Canada's getting it then. 2026 is in Italy, so yeah, they must have it. They must have it for the next while.
So, because I don't remember the particulars, but I read an article and they suspected that the NHL would sit out of the next Olympics, but then go back for the Olympics after that. But then we're talking, 6 years out?
Yeah, that's a while. Some of these players are never, like McDavid's never laced it up for the Olympics, and like
exactly. So in 6 years, McDavid will be what, 32 maybe?
Yeah, so
ish. I don't know his age right now, but
it's gotta be a little bit younger, I think. But
probably 97, right? Born in 97, I would assume. His number.
That's a good guess, yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I would think so.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I hope they do bring it back. That's one thing. So that's one thing I've heard being talked about. There wasn't really any trades. I think last time we talked on the pod, now that we were talking about Taylor Hall being traded.
Yeah.
And so like that's worked out somewhat for the Coyotes since it's happened. They've continued to win for the most part. They had a little bit of a rough patch when he first started there.
Yeah. But that's to be expected.
Exactly.
It's hard to fit a guy at the top of or it's easier to fit somebody in the fine-tuning spots of a lower part of a roster than it is to kind of give the reins to somebody at the top of the roster.
Yep, most definitely.
Takes a little smoothing out usually.
Let's do our going around the Canadian teams.
All right. There's a couple that have not been doing well.
Yeah, and I had an idea for how we're gonna do this. We'll just start from the bottom of the league, and we'll work our way up. We'll try to see if we can think of anything, or like maybe I guess we got about 2 months till the trade deadline too.
Yeah,
kind of what we expect. So Ottawa's being at the bottom of the league.
Yeah, at least they have their pick this year.
They have their pick. Don't they have 2 possible picks? I don't actually know.
Yeah, they've got Colorado's or
It's
no, it's
the other way
San
around.
Jose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
San Jose for Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
So, and San Jose right now is 5th last. So,
do they have any pieces on their team that are expected to move? That's what I guess that's
Sens.
Who?
Sens we're talking about,
yeah,
right?
Senators. Like we know where they are at. We know they're going to be near the bottom of the league. That's expected. Their fans expect it. Their management expects it. I guess it's just status quo for them. Not much to talk about.
Craig Anderson might be available if he wants to get a shot at winning, but he might just want to kind of hang out with the team he's with. I don't know what type of guy he's like, so I don't know the answer to that. But Jean-Gabriel Pageau, I think, is
actually, I've heard
a trade asset.
Yep.
Who else? I think that's probably it for the time being. I mean, I don't think they're really looking to continue to get assets. I think they're kind of trying to lay the foundation to let their kids step in and grow. I think it's almost that time where they're going to pull up Brandstrom. They're going to pull up Gustafsson, the goalie they got down in the AHL. They're going to obviously give a big-time role to Kovulchuk. They got a bunch of other kids like Abramov that they're going to call up. So,
if you had to give them a grade for how they've performed to expectations this year,
what's the parameters? We're talking just this season?
Just this season. Like, coming into the season, there's expectations of every team. How have they matched up against those expectations?
I think they're probably right in line with where they want to be. I think that if they had like a 10 thing to do checklist, I think that they've knocked off a lot of those things, and I think that they're well on their way to having a successful season.
Yeah, I think they should be very happy with the way things have gone. They've won games that no one expects them to win. Sure, they're at the bottom of the league, but they're competing with the teams in the bottom. They're not Detroit.
Well, another thing that people got to remember too, especially Ottawa fans that don't necessarily care or know much about Toronto, when Ron Hainsey was here, the year before Morgan Riley exploded, Morgan Riley basically didn't get any opportunity to score. It was all about learning defense.
Yeah.
I find it funny how Shabbat is basically in that exact situation, except a season after. So I think that's why they brought Hainsey in, so that he can try and learn the game properly. And then next year they'll unleash Shabbat, and Shabbat will come back to the guy that we're
I was watching
used to.
little bit of a Ottawa game the other day, and they were talking about Shabbat seems to be the one teaching the other players how to play. Like, because I remember a couple podcasts ago I gave you that trivia about how many minutes he played. It was insane. Like, I think he's averaging close to 30 minutes a game right now. But lately they have been pairing him with different defensemen. That I guess
that makes sense.
More putting him in more of the leadership role to teach
that makes
them.
sense.
So maybe him matched with Hainsey kind of doing the same kind of thing. So
consistent message anyways.
Yep. I think they're definitely going on the right track.
Yeah.
I can't say that I feel the same about this next team. Do you know who the next worst Canadian team
Montreal
is?
Canadiens?
Yes. They started off the season giving their fans, I think, a lot more hope than they should, than to be expected.
Yeah.
They were right in the thick of it, at least. It kind of feels like they're mirroring what Buffalo Sabres did last year, in a way.
A little bit.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. Montreal is an interesting case for me because Montreal is almost like the Leafs of the past decades. But I will say that at least they have some pieces coming. So I'm not going to shit talk them necessarily. But, like, I'm a big believer that obviously you're building towards one end of the spectrum or not. Like, you're either rebuilding or you're going for it. And, I mean, we've touched on Weber a couple times. Weber's career is going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Price is signed long-term for a ton of money. So, like, are you sure you want to be in bed with that contract for the next decade? There's just a lot of questions that I have. And, like, they got a lot of young kids coming. And, that's fine. And things will be fine in Montreal. I'm not worried about that. But, like, let's say the next 3 seasons, I'm not really sure what we're gonna get from them.
Yeah, and I don't see them having that game changer player on their team, at least right now.
Yeah, they got a couple kids, but I mean, again, it's going to be a committee type approach, not necessarily like ride your guns, kind of like the Leafs or like the Lightning or certain teams like that.
Yeah, when you say that they have a bunch of kids, I start to worry about teams like that because the Sabres are, I think, a team that always use that. At least they have Eichel now to fall back on.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even see the Habs having their Eichel yet. Maybe that guy emerges because Eichel took some time, but he's still, I don't know.
But they're hoping that Domi becomes Eichel, which it's not going to happen. And I think that, like, if I was given the job to be the general manager of the Montreal Canadiens, which obviously I never would be, but if I was, the first thing I would do is look at trading Price, look at trading Weber, and just say, look, like, it didn't work. Let's start clean. We got these kids. I mean, what are we going to do if we're Montreal? Wait 3 years and then have Weber leave us right when we're ready to compete again? And then miss that defenseman that we need in front of Price to make Price the best goalie he can be? So, like, right when they're about to step to the limelight, so to speak, like in a couple of years when those kids are contributors, they're going to have guys at the bottom of the roster going the wrong way that are eating up a lot of money. And then it's going to be, you're going to have to pay somebody to take Price, or you're going to have to buy him out. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I'm worried about for them is, like, at what point does that become an albatross? And at what point do you just say, you know what, maybe it was a mistake for that type of commitment. Let's move on when we can.
Yeah, it definitely feels that the longer they wait, the harder and less they're going to get, obviously.
Yeah, and like even right now, I don't think they're going to get a ton. And I say that just because they're only going to get what they get offered by the teams that want to get them. And I think there's really only 4, maybe 5 teams in the entire league that would even have that conversation. Mm-hmm. And one of them would be Seattle, which can't make a trade yet. So you got to wait on that. So at least it gives you a bit of time for that if you want to do it. If you want to let them go in expansion, which I think you wanted to make a trade and get another goalie back as opposed to it, and instead of letting him just go in expansion, because then you got nothing.
Yeah.
I don't believe in much that they have left. Like Caden Primo.
Oh, shit.
He was a 6th, 7th round pick.
Leafs just tied it. 10 seconds left.
What, really?
Yeah, 12 seconds.
Matthews too, eh?
Jeez, yeah.
I had a feeling they were going to lose tonight.
I parlayed this game and the other game that's playing right now, the Washington game, at both under 6.5 goals. So that just killed my ticket, that goal right there.
Aren't they? They were both 2-3 going, or 3-2 going into the third.
Yeah, they were both like pretty much 2-2 after the first. I was shitting myself, but I thought I was gonna squeeze through here at the end, but Matthews put a nail in my coffin.
Yeah.
Sorry for that interruption. Felt
good.
Needed.
Yeah. I wasn't watching, so I'm glad. I saw there was a couple minutes left, and I stopped.
Yeah, I was kind of sweating the last 20 seconds there because of that. I would have won a decent chunk, but
how much money got taken out of your pocket there?
$50.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Fuck. It's all good. It's all for fun. So I think let's go on to the next team. So we leave Montreal. We're gonna jump up
way up.
9 spots. 9 spots, and I'm surprised that this was the team that I saw first. But I guess they're all like.
Who were you expecting to see first? I guess they're just bang in a row, eh?
Yeah, there's literally 4 teams now with 1 point separating them. So
yeah,
it's kind of crazy. But we'll go to the Canucks, who I guess deserves to be here, this next team, because they got smacked up last night. 9 goals.
They did.
Both teams, the Lightning and Canucks, were 7 games in a row going into that. So I think the biggest question mark with the Canucks right now is, can Markstrom hold this team together? Because on that 7-game win streak they had, he must have stolen 5 points, 6 points, himself. So I know we talked about it a couple pods ago, how I thought he was underrated and he had that 51 save shutout or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's just been that, and I don't know if this Tampa Bay game that just happened is just... He's starting to get to that point where he's being tested with the most games he's ever played, the most minutes, the highest role on the team. His contract's up this year, so there's a lot of pressure on him. So I think this is going to be a big thing to watch for the Canucks going the rest of the season, because I know Travis Green loves Markstrom. Anytime he'd been questioned last season, the beginning of this season, who the number one was, it's always Markstrom's my guy. So it's going to be interesting if Markstrom continues, and yesterday was just like an outlier, continues to help carry this team to a playoff spot. I don't know how the Canucks are going to be able to give him the contract that he will deserve. With the,
maybe they don't want to.
Maybe they don't, but we can see it with a lot of different teams. If you don't have a goalie, you're not going very far.
But their talk was always to have DiPietro and Demko be the platoon, the ideal platoon for kids growing up, and have them as a veteran split over the next 6 years together. That's what I understood their hope to be. But I think Markstrom's better than those other two goalies and will be better than those two goalies. So I think that you should stick with them if you're Vancouver. But
maybe they'll sign him for a short-term deal. I don't know. Goalies,
I could see a 2-year deal.
Goalie contracts more often than not get pulled off in shorter deals compared to players, I find. So
yeah,
interesting. It's hard to say, but I think that's going to be the big thing to watch with the Canucks. And how they react. They could easily now go on a skid. I think they're on the road. They play the Panthers next, and then I'm trying to remember where they go, but they're on a road trip. Their next home game isn't till the 16th, and I know they play 4 games over the weekend. So they play 4 games in 6 nights or something.
That's tough.
Or 7 nights, so on the road. So that can really tough. And what the way the Pacific's been going,
it's gonna make or break, really. But I mean, we could go to Winnipeg, the team that's currently hopefully losing to the Leafs.
Yeah, they're in overtime right now.
Oh, that was close. This is the best radio.
Yeah, they're...
Come on, Lily.
So, realistically, Winnipeg is guaranteed a point, so they might go up. They would hop over Calgary and Edmonton, but...
No. Breakaway. 2-0. What a save. No way. That was ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know what the hell to expect from Winnipeg. I mean, watching this game is pretty much just the same as talking about the Jets. I'm not super hot on Hellebuck myself. He's been having an amazing season, but I don't believe in their defense. They've got some really good forwards, don't get me wrong with that.
Yeah.
But they just I don't know.
Yeah, I think they kind of are in the same situation as the Leafs in the fact the Leafs they're kind of similar in that they both have a solid number 1 and their number 2 is kind of we're not so sure about. I mean, they seem to like Brossoit, and the Leafs seem to be, but he's
Keefe seems to like Hutchinson. Yeah, but he's a young kid too, right? It's hard to expect the consistency out of a position when you're only playing once every 20 days or whatever.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I just saw that breakaway of yours.
Oh, no way. This is back and forth. This is ridiculous. Freddie's already made 2 ridiculous saves. But yeah, what?
I was just going to move on to the next team.
Yeah, Calgary.
Sure.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with them. When are they going to get going? Are they going to get going?
I think they're having a battle in the net right now. It seems like a common theme amongst a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Right now, amongst a lot of teams right now is that Talbot's their their best goalie right now. And if Talbot's your best goalie, I don't know if that is a recipe for success.
Yeah. It's really not. And I'm worried for Calgary because, like, if they don't get their shit together, I think Gujo could find himself somewhere else. I think, like, Giordano isn't going anywhere, but, like, he could fall back into kind of nothingness. Like, I don't know. I'm a bit worried about Calgary. They may have kind of missed the boat a little bit. I thought that they were the second best Canadian team behind Toronto by far, but I can't say I trust them.
I don't know if I trust them either. It's, I think this Pacific, it's so weird. This Pacific is so clusterfucked in this spot that it's going to come down to whoever gets hot at the right time and just kind of wins some of the key games, and that's going to be the person that takes it. It feels like. And I could say the same about Calgary, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Vancouver. They're all, and it shows with this 1 point difference separating them all. Like, it really shows that the parity is real. Like, Gary Bettman got what he wanted.
Yeah. And, like, is this what we want for the sport long term as fans?
I think so.
I don't.
No? What?
I just don't think it's right where 93% of the revenue come from the 4 teams, yet those 4 teams get what perk?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the NHL is one. So it'd be like, the way I would see, like, we're all Canadian. Should certain Canadians that live in certain spots get a different amount of, like, kickback than other Canadians?
I think that
I know that's a stretch of a comparison, but I'm just trying to think.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like it's a mix of that, and it's a mix of you want teams to build through the draft, which is what your strategy was.
Yeah.
And now these teams who are successfully building through the draft can't retain everybody. So they get like a couple quick shots at it, and then they're just back to the same ground as everyone else. So, like,
yeah. I don't like
what's the point?
I always kind of do like the dream of a dynasty being born, or
I don't even want to see a dynasty, but like, I'll take the Leafs just because I know them familiar. They pretty much did a perfect job in drafting, developing, teaching, like babying, coddling, everything that could possibly happen and be required to get your kids from kids to contributing players as part of your team. The Leafs now are going to have to take a couple steps back just because at this time, the money's required to sign these guys, and these guys are top players in the NHL. So if you look back in 2 years and the Leafs lose in the first or second round the next 2 years, and you say, oh, what a missed opportunity. My question would be, what could they have done to better their opportunities? Nothing. Right? They pretty much did as good as they could have done, and they were penalized for it because they did too good of a job. That's bullshit to me. Like, if you do an amazing job, which there's probably 3 or 4 other teams that would fit in that same category,
okay, so
you should be rewarded.
Your argument isn't as necessarily. You at first you said the top 4 markets should be rewarded. This should be more.
Well,
this is a little
I
different.
think that they should be able to, like, I do think that there should be some. Sure, have a cap, but like have a system where you can buy out players for picks. So, like the Leafs, for example. I don't know who has no money. Let's say Ottawa. Ottawa wants to buy somebody out. They can send a second rounder to Toronto, buy this guy out. It's a benefit to the league because this guy. So let's take Bobby Ryan.
Okay.
Remember I mentioned earlier Bobby Ryan. What if they could somehow evaporate his contract so that he could get a fresh start somewhere and help with this whole everything that he's been dealing with. So why can't the Rangers or the Leafs or Montreal or whoever, let's say the Rangers or Montreal more specifically right now, because they could use this. Why can't they buy Bobby Ryan out to allow him to chase a better opportunity, which is better for the PA and all its contributors, but then those teams can get an asset for helping that happen? Where Ottawa would be like, well, we're not doing that, so Bobby Ryan's screwed. End of story.
Yeah, there needs to be some incentive to be able to do things like that. And I'm sure changes will be made. Will they be the right changes? Probably not.
Yeah, but the problem for me being a Leaf fan is when those changes come, it won't matter because everything's been done. Like, I think that maybe there should be something where, like, if you drafted the player or you acquired him from his bird rights, then you should be able to save 30% on his contract. He still gets his money, but on the cap, you save 30% or whatever the number is. Or you can
I agree with that.
Designate one contract as your franchise player and it doesn't count towards the cap. And you could do that towards, like, let's say Matthews. Then they would have $11 million to spend on a backup goalie and some other players. Retain cap. Like, we wouldn't have to talk about how we already want to trade all these other guys that we've paid because we just can't afford to keep them, which is true. But, like, they're 7th, 5th, 6th rounders. Why is it our fault that we did a really good job and spent 5 years on these kids to develop them into something we can use? For 1 year later, we got to flip them because they deserve more money than we can afford to give them. Like, it just seems contradictory to me. And if you do a good job, you should be rewarded with something. Because if not, then why strive for anything? Be a Senators, be a Buffalo, be a Minnesota. That's just nothing every year.
Shots fired.
It's facts.
When you were talking there, it reminded me that we skipped over something for the Montreal.
What's that?
That they picked up Mr. Kovulchuk.
Oh yeah.
Not the biggest of deals, but still, he had a little
Kovalev 2.0.
Kovalev 2.0.
Alexei Kovalev.
Name sounds so familiar, but
he played for the Penguins too.
Okay.
He went from the Penguins to the Habs, and he was like a super
sounds so familiar.
Flashy. Oh, you'll remember him. Okay. He's flashy and very like
that's why
showy,
showboaty,
and showboaty and stuff. He was the one that went skating back and got slashed in the wrist and was like, and then the guy skated in on a breakaway and scored in the playoffs.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's that guy. But yeah, I mean Gallagher's out of the lineup. Who else is going to take shots? I think he had 5 hits and 4 shots in his first game.
Yeah, he's been getting on the stat sheet at least with points, hits, blocks on all games. So
no one's ever questioned his shooting ability. That's still there. If he gets enough puck time, he's going to score.
Yeah,
put him with Pajot.
It's going to be interesting. I think I know they set up something for like 20 days with him or 20 games or something. I don't exactly remember how it worked, but I think he'll last the rest of the season there.
I think so too. I think he wants to prove that he can still play the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But
this last Ontario team, the Leafs, they have been on a tear.
Except for the last 2 games.
Yeah, 2 game sample size I could care less about, though.
Well, I will expand it to 4 games because the game before was the Islanders game, and they were outshot almost 2-1. And you could argue that the Leafs really didn't have very many opportunities. They just strike on the opportunities, which fair, but
that's what the Canucks are doing. That's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, I don't like my chance. Like, if you're only getting 8 good opportunities, but you're burying 2 or 3 a game, there's going to be a couple games where you just don't get those opportunities. And like the last 4 games, I felt like the Leafs have not been that good. But they have half the points, so doesn't matter.
Hey, I think Leafs fans have got to be happy with the way things have turned around at the very least.
Yeah,
like
most people are happy now, and they're like, I like watching the games, and it's just kind of like that. It's nice. It's kind of refreshing.
A little bit of like they're 8-1-1 in their last 10, so that's something to be proud of. climbing up the overall standings. I think they're in 10th now.
Yep.
And 1 point behind Tampa, which I think they just got that point. So they'll be tied with Tampa with a couple games in hand. So that's enough. But at the same time, Boston's been kind of struggling to put up the 2 points. They still don't seem to lose, Boston. A lot of overtime.
Boston just wants to slide back to 2 so they can play Leafs at 3.
Is that your... Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we said that in the first podcast, is that was going to happen.
Yep, it'll happen again.
So are you changing your prediction on the winner of the conference or the division to Tampa?
Yep. Yep.
There you go.
You want to run through the standings now?
Yeah, let's do a quick one.
All right, let's start in the West. Central, what's your Central?
All right, I'm just going to pull this up here. So we're looking at the Central. I would say it's pretty much right where, like right now is where I see it finishing. Except Nashville.
So St. Louis, Colorado, Dallas.
Yeah, and Winnipeg in 4th. And possibly out.
So what would you have them as a wild? You'd have Winnipeg as a wild card?
Possible wild card, yeah. Yeah. I would have St. Louis, Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg, and then I would think Nashville turns it around a little bit here to pass Minnesota in the standings, but
yeah,
when it comes to Nashville, I'm a little confused about the John Hines hiring.
Yeah,
but
I didn't really get that.
After listening to some things today, I guess it makes more sense. I guess he did very well in the AHL when he was down there. And I guess the guys made some good points in the fact that he did coach New Jersey to the playoffs 2 years ago, Taylor Hall to a Hart Trophy. So, like, he does have it. If you couple that with his AHL history, which I know nothing about, then I guess it makes a little bit more sense.
Well, I mean, everybody likes their coach for certain reasons, right?
Yeah.
Not every coach has 30 teams chasing them. There's usually only 5 to 8 teams chasing a coach because of the type of coach, right? Or where they are in their organic state between, beginning and end.
Yeah. And if I'm jumping down into Pacific, I'm going to say Vegas, number 1.
Yep.
Although I do have some concerns with how Fleury has been playing.
Yeah. He's tired, though. They've got no one else to play behind him. They got to go out and get somebody.
Yeah, they do.
They should go get a guy like Ryan Miller. That would be a good fit for them.
Yeah, possibly. Be interesting. They probably won't be able to pull anything off till closer to deadline.
Probably not, but I think they need somebody that can step in when he gets a little tired.
So I'm going to put Vegas, Coyotes. I'm still going to have Calgary in there. Calgary is 3rd. Yeah. And then I'm going to put Edmonton as 4th and Vancouver 5th, battling with Winnipeg for the last wildcard spot. But they'll miss.
That'd be nice to have a bunch of Canadian teams in.
Yep. But if Vancouver is getting in, one of the other Canadian teams is not.
Yeah, agreed.
So
one of those
I guess that's my analysis on the playoff on this, like the last place.
Mm-hmm.
Is going to be a Canadian team missing in 9th.
Yeah.
I don't know who, because they're all like very, very, very similar.
Yeah. I think that the Oilers gotta probably get tired and fall out. I think Calgary will finally get their gear going a bit, and Giordano will heat up a little bit, and their team will they're more of a veteran team. I'm more confident that when push comes to shove, and when the real hockey kind of gets played, they're going to show up.
Yeah.
And then Winnipeg, I still got to believe something's happening with Byfuglien, whether he comes back or he gets dealt for some other piece to help them this year.
Possible.
If that doesn't happen, I take Vancouver. If that does happen, I take Winnipeg.
Okay. So
I think that they got to... Whoever makes a trade, whoever kind of sparks things up a little bit will take that spot.
Okay. That's fair.
So I don't know who, but somebody's got to step up and take it.
Do you still have Colorado winning the Central?
Yeah. Because I think that they're going to acquire Carey Price.
Okay.
I know I've been saying that for a long time.
You think Colorado's getting Carey Price? Yeah,
I do.
If they're gonna have a chance to win the conference or whatnot, they need a goalie.
I'm reading between some lines here, but it's been confirmed here on some radio that, like from Bob McKenzie and some other guys, that Colorado's kind of just gone weirdly quiet since they were so close to getting Hall. So like, why would a team go so hard and then just disappear? They're not disappeared. They're somewhere. They're talking to someone. Just that someone's not talking about what they're talking about, right?
Yep.
Like that's always how it goes. I mean, we know how that goes with managers and fantasy, so it goes the same in NHL, right? So like, let's play this game quickly. If you're Colorado, what do you need and why are you so quiet? There's probably only 4 or 5 pieces that you could fill that blank in with. I think it's Price. Because Grubauer, I've never believed in as a starter. I thought that was them being hopeful.
It was.
Francouz or Francouz or however the hell you want to pronounce his name, he's not an NHL goaltender. Talk to me in 2 years and no one will remember who he is.
I'm going to quote you on that because he's been lights out.
Do it. So, I mean, put it this way. Colorado could get Carey Price and have Francouz as the backup. Sure, in 2 years he might still be there as a tandem if he gets along well with Price and blah, 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 all that other shit. But they also have a couple goalies in the system that will eventually push their name through. So they could flip Grubauer again if another team still believes in him. But, yeah, I think Price is going to Colorado.
Cool.
Maybe not this season, but before the start of next season. I think he's in Colorado.
I think you said that on our first podcast or second podcast, the same exact thing. And then I thought you were crazy. And now
most people have said that.
I could see it happening. Like, it's not as ludicrous.
History repeats itself.
Yeah, we're seeing that in the real world too.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Penguins. They had Mario and Yager. Now they have Malkin and Crosby. I mean, I know you can pick them out, but like, there's a lot of era comparable things where history repeats itself.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I don't know all the history, but I know Montreal was supposed to be good, and then they had a couple rough patches in years, and then they just started riding the shit out of Waugh, and then there was that game where I think he gave up like 7 or 8 or whatever it was, and he walked to the coach and said, "I trade me right now."
Yep.
I believe what's true, and what I was told was that Carey Price had a meeting at the end of last season and said, "Look, you have like this upcoming season before expansion to make the playoffs, and if you don't, I want you to not protect me or trade me. So let me go in expansion or trade me." He's a Vancouver boy. Why wouldn't he want to be in Seattle? He's going to end up in Colorado or Seattle, one of the two.
Yep.
And if he's still in Montreal to start next season, he will go to Seattle at the end of the season. If he doesn't, obviously he'll be in Colorado, and he'll be in Colorado. That's my call.
All right, I like it. Any other thoughts on this Western Conference?
Not really. It's kind of closing down. The teams are kind of locking themselves in.
Yep.
I mean, anything can happen. Somebody can have a big game. I mean, I'm still waiting for San Jose to do something.
They're not,
but I don't think they're going to.
Couture's out for 6 weeks now? Their best player?
Honestly, if I was their coach, call me crazy, but I put Burns up front.
Yeah, you're crazy. We've gone over this, though. You make the crazy calls, and I'm just here to call you out for it.
Why not? Remember when he played forward defense for them, and he basically was like the king of hockey for a couple years? I think that, why not? Let him loose for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't see that happening.
It's their only chance. Well, other than getting a goalie.
Chance,
but they gotta get a goalie if they want to salvage this season, but they're not going to. But yeah, that's the West, I think.
That's the West, yeah. Let's do the Metro. I think slam dunk that. I think we both think the Caps are pretty much secured in that top spot.
Yep.
And this is where I'm going to deviate from the past.
Are you committing?
I am jumping off the wagon of a team that I just committed to And I'm going to say second place is the Penguins, followed by the Islanders,
Oh shit.
followed by Carolina. And Philadelphia is going to be looking
In from the outside.
Yes, they are. I had a lot of faith in them, and then this past road trip, although they did just
They win
today.
at home, they lose out.
Yeah,
Like, it's been that way for years. I don't know what the fuck is wrong.
They need to get over it. They're. I don't know if Hart can. It has to be the Hart show if they're gonna do it. And I'm not seeing it right now. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Flyers. I've been watching quite a bit of their games lately. Just don't have the confidence in my gut. So I'm gonna have them on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
And for the first time on this podcast, someone's actually believing the Islanders can make the playoffs. And after watching them win 1-0 against Colorado earlier this week, I'm just like, they're so boring, but they're getting the job done, at least in the season. It doesn't mean...
You will never hear me predict the Islanders because I hate the Islanders. They shouldn't even be an NHL team.
Why? Doesn't even make sense.
I know. I hate them. I hate them for so many reasons. And they're all so petty. Like, one of them is I hate the fact that they acquired Ryan Smith. That, like, ruined the end of his contract. He should have always just been an Oiler, and that should have never happened.
I thought he went to... didn't he go to LA or something? Or was it the Islanders?
I think it was afterwards, after he ended up leaving.
I just remember
Edmonton,
it was the first trade deadline I ever watched.
I think you're right.
Crying.
Yeah, but that was to the Islanders because he ended up playing Toronto that year.
Okay.
And that's when they had Doug Weight and Bill Guerin and...
I could see why you despise the Islanders, but being a Leafs fan, because growing up they did play each other quite a bit.
Yeah, and they always freaking beat us. And their teams weren't even that good. That's the thing that drove me nuts about it. Freaking Roman Cicmanik.
Or it wasn't like Pekka on there.
Pekka?
Michael Pekka?
Oh, yeah, Mike Pekka. Yeah, he was there.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're not picking the Islanders, are you still on the Flyers? Where's your standings looking like?
I just will not pick the Islanders no matter what. So, like, let's just pretend that they fall out. That allows the Flyers to move up, which would... I always love Pittsburgh, Philly. I will watch those games in the playoffs. Yeah. I will make time for those games. Every game they play is like Boston, Toronto. Like, it's hockey you have to watch. And, like, it's usually ugly as fuck, but, like, it's usually... so entertaining, and like shorthanded goals, power play goals, fights, like dirty checks, goalies throwing blockers at each other. Like, there's just always something going on, and I love it. So, like, I just want to see it. So I'll just go with Pittsburgh, Philly as 2-3. Obviously, Washington as 1.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
You got the Hurricanes, or are you going to go off the board?
Well, the Hurricanes I have in the wild card. Because, again, I will not pick the Islanders, so assuming there's a spot there to be had, let's go with Carolina.
Okay, I just was curious on your takes on this Blue Jackets team that seems to be not sticking around slowly. I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I heard that they were going to acquire Jimmy Howard, and I think that would be a really good deal for them.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they can do anything with the goaltending that they got. But the one thing I will say is they also have some injuries, some key injuries. Guys like Josh Anderson, like
Bjorkstrand, Atkinson.
Yeah. Like, so they could continue to kind of
That's what's
play
the
well,
most surprising part about it all is that they are playing.
But let me ask you this: Are they better at the game they play than the Islanders are?
No.
And I won't pick the Islanders, so that's saying something.
All right.
I just basically said the Islanders are better than Columbus, so.
We'll give that means a lot. I'm sure all the Islander fans that might ever hear this will appreciate.
That's the closest you're going to get to a compliment from me for the Islanders.
That's funny. Okay.
But yeah, so in the Atlantic, I already said earlier, Tampa's going to come back and run away with it. They're going to finish in first.
Yep.
In the conference, they're going to pass Washington.
Okay. That's crazy.
I honestly feel like Tampa's only going to lose like 5 games here on out. Like I have this weird feeling where they're going to like run set some stupid record of like.
Okay.
Like what was St. Louis's record? Wasn't that the best record ever after the New Year's or whatever? Or like team in last place or whatever that shit was.
I think for like 12 months they had the best. The Blues had the best record for like 12 months.
Yeah.
If you went from like January to January.
Okay, so I'd like to know last year when they took off, how many points they got from when they took off.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say they have a similar amount as Tampa. Tampa probably a little less, but I expect Tampa to. How many games do they have left?
They're about
40 games left. Yeah, so they got 40 games left. I think they'll lose 10 or less games here on out.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say 12.
Still close.
I think Tampa was. I don't know why people forgot. Like it just feels like people forgot about them, and I know a lot of it had to do with the fact they started over. They did that global series, and they just were like behind in games played compared to most people, and they didn't have the Tampa Bay start that everyone expected. So it looked like they were struggling more than realistically they were.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of went under people's radars, and I'm with you. I think they're going to be the hottest team in the NHL going forward. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what took them. Maybe it was just a little bit of a slow start. That's fine.
I think a lot of it was some soul searching they had to do, because like I've heard, I think it was Ray Ferrero say this a bunch on the radio, that like when something like that happens, and you're up 3-0 after the first period, and then you get swept from there on out. It's hard to look at the guy to your left and right the same. Mm-hmm. It's hard. It's not saying anything lesser of the people. It's just saying you take a second look and wonder, like, are these the guys that have my back? Are these the guys that are going to make me the best I can be? Like, are we the right group here? And I think there was a lot of that to start. And I think there was a lot of second guessing. I think there was a lot of guys kind of looking at each other being like, well, what are you doing? I'm doing this. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's not we're all together as a team. Mm-hmm. I think it was a little bit of that. So I think that's starting to fall away. I think they're starting to believe in themselves again. I think they're starting to think, all right, we've gotten over this. We're back in second place. Nothing matters anymore. And once that pressure comes off, they're going to be good.
Yep. I'm with you on that for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I fall in the same boat in that I do think it's Boston and the Leafs. I don't think it matters too much who's in second. I'll just say Boston for the sake of the standings at this point. I know last I said the Leafs would be number 1, but so let me change it out. Leafs number 2. They're gonna have home ice advantage for the first time ever against Boston. Boston, yeah, they're gonna be third, but like they're gonna be comfortable.
That's a
third.
take. That's a take.
That's a take. There you go. Boston in third. And fuck, who do I want to go here? I'm thinking I'm going to go with See, I want to say Buffalo. I do, but I can't. I really can't.
Yeah.
I want to, but I can't.
No, unless they do something. They got to go make a trade if they have an actual expectation.
Yeah, and they're kind of like the Flyers in the fact that they need to figure out their issue on the road as well. Like they're 6-12-4 on the road. It's hardly better than Detroit's road record. Like
yeah, but I hear that Buffalo is one of the main teams in on Kreider, or that want Kreider. So I mean that could be something that could really help them take a little bit of a step.
They just made some trade, albeit minor. They got
Proleak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gave up Scandella.
Yeah.
It's minor, right?
Moving the deck chairs around on the Titanic.
Exactly. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the standings from my perspective.
I would love, if the Islanders end up making the playoffs, I would love to see them make it as a wild card and take on either Boston or Tampa and knock them out. like a Columbus did last year, so that Toronto can walk in and play the Islanders round 2, sweep them, kick their ass, and then fucking walk into the Eastern Final.
Do you think
against the Penguins?
Okay, we'll go Penguins. Do you think the Rangers are going to be trading Georgiev?
Yes.
Because I asked because they just called up that third goalie of theirs,
Igor Shesterkin.
He got his first win against Colorado.
Yeah, against Colorado, yeah.
On the road.
Albeit 6-3, 6-2, 6-3?
5-3.
5-3.
5-3.
5-2. It was either 5-2, 5-3, 6-2, 6-3. One of those two. Yeah. One of those four.
He was down 2-0 in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, so, which you gotta expect, a little bit of nerves and shit.
So I don't know. That's about the only thing I can think of the outside teams that's kind of curious is what's going on there. I know Lundqvist has been ill, so that might be the reason. But I also heard the reason they had to call this guy up is because he was threatening to go back to Russia.
Yeah.
So
he was destroying the AHL.
Yeah.
He's on an average team, and I think he had like 4 shutouts or something.
Yeah, I think you were talking about this guy last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the best goalie outside the NHL, so I mean, why let him sit there for 40 more games? Like if we're in game 73 right now, I'd be like, come on, bro. Like you got a few more games and you got the summer and come back strong, get the gig next year. But like we're talking 40 more games. Like if you're gonna stick me down in the fucking minors for 40 more games when your team's not even that good and I'm lighting up the AHL, fuck you. I'm going back to Russia too.
Yeah, fair enough.
So.
Any last thoughts on anything? The league?
For the league, no, not really. I think the playoff teams are pretty much set, other than the Islanders and Philly. I think Carolina, Toronto, Tampa, Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington are all locks for me. It just depends on the order.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Shall we move to a couple quick fantasy wrap up, and then I'm running out of steam.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Getting something on the books here. So quick fantasy wrap up. What does that mean? Do we want to go our normal route and just talk about some of the trades? Do we want to let's take a look at the standings of the fantasy league? Yeah,
let's start with the trades first. So there's been a couple since we last chatted, and by a couple I mean I think 5.
Let's pull this open and for the podcast. I'm gonna put it up. So we're looking at we'll go just trades, right?
Yeah. So there was the Pavelski for Kopitar, but Kopitar gained 2 rounds, or the guy gained 2 rounds for getting Kopitar.
Yeah, I didn't understand that trade. I'm gonna be honest with you. The guy. Oh, okay. Never mind it. Wait. So the guy that got Kopitar gave up 2 rounds, but like a 12th rounder.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, I didn't know why he was doing this. I trying to dissect his team to figure out what he was doing. I know he was trying to get rid of Kopitar all season though.
Yeah. It's because he thought he had too many centers. He didn't like his lack of flexibility. So he wanted to move a pure center for anybody not pure center.
Okay, that seems logical because earlier in the season he was trying to trade Kopitar for Shen.
Mm-hmm.
For me,
and I told him that like I thought he could have got 4 or 5 rounds for Kopitar in that trade. I think he could have got a little bit better.
He could have,
but he said I only wanted a 12. I was like, you should have asked for a 12 and like always ask for 2 or 3 picks. Like don't ask for just 1. Like satisfy yourself multiple times. He's like, I just wanted 12. I was like, all right, to each their own.
Yep. And then the next trade after that involves me. I traded Alex Edler for Zach Hyman. And,
why?
and honestly, this was just me getting rid of a defenseman because I had too many.
Okay.
I had too many. Edler was the odd man out in my books. He's kind of he's at the peak of his performance that he'll get. So I dropped Hyman right away. Like I just literally did this for a pickup grade, which I ended up.
Oh, you got 2 rounds.
I got 2 rounds, yeah. So ended up flipping that pick in this very next trade between you and myself. So
yes.
Where do you want to go with this? This is me. I still have some regrets with this trade. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you?
I
Why?
do, because to me, trading Patrick Kane here for it doesn't matter. Ilya Samsonov doesn't matter that he was a part of this trade.
Yeah.
For me, I traded Patrick Kane, my best player, for picks, essentially saying, okay, I give up on this season. I don't know if I'm happy about that decision at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So you can at least be sat. I know Nick wasn't satisfied that I traded you Kane, but I think he's satisfied that I no longer had Kane. Like one less team to worry about. You guys all had one less team to worry about. I got a bunch of picks back. Like that's really gonna set me up my strategy for next year. Next year I'm gonna have a pretty solid team. From
you and Dylan will both have a really good team.
Yeah.
Dylan's done drafting by the 6th round. I think you're pretty close to that.
11th. Well, yeah. Something like that.
But you only have like 3 picks between 6 and 11, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has the luxury of having another second or 2 first-round picks. So, like, I got a second-round pick, a 4th, a 7th, and a 10th from this.
Mm-hmm.
Giving up a bunch. I was kind of comparing this trade to the Marchand one and the Rantanen one earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely got more than they did. So
yeah,
it made me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
What was your perspective on this?
I thought it was a good trade. I thought that I gave you what you needed. I thought that I did well, like in terms of adding a talent I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it was just a win-win. I thought that we that's why I like the draft picks, because it's easier to find a win-win instead of having somebody kind of be like, all right, I'm kind of taking it on this deal. So like next time you got to kind of take it on the deal.
Yeah,
so,
I do like having draft picks involved because it allows you to pay. Like, you're not paying quite enough. Oh, here's an extra round. Like,
yeah, okay, fine, that's enough. Like, it's a cherry on top or whatever.
Yep.
I mean, I lost last week, so it didn't really work out for me. And
yeah, but that's because I know the kryptonite to your strategy. I'm just not going to share it with anyone.
Well, no, it's the obvious strategy, but like,
I know, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I'm a little disappointed in myself just because I don't like my chances anymore for the free $100 for just winning best team before we even get eliminating or chances for elimination. But then now my second thing is that I'm now starting to think I might not even be able to take second place. So I might have even done all these trades to finish as the best team that has to play in round 1.
Yeah, like third place.
And I take a chance that I can lose. Like,
yeah, I was talking.
If I fucking lose round 1 and then Nick and Beerbuds get through on buys and I traded all this shit, Beerbuds has done like nothing, and then Nick's sitting there with all his trades, I'm the clear loser this year. Like, by far.
Yeah. Yeah, you are. So you need some stuff. Don't worry, Patrick Kane's got your back, man. That guy puts up mad stuff. I'm
more worried about my fucking goaltending right now.
I think you should be. You should go down to 2 goalies.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
I'm not.
But as soon as I move Holtby, then fucking Freddie will tear his groin and he'll go down for the rest of the year, and Hutchison will somehow get the Leafs in the playoffs. And then I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, great, I had 3 amazing goalies. Now I have Binnington. Who wants to give me some piece of shit that's going to ruin me in the playoffs anyways? Well, that's what happens to me every time. That's why I run 3 goalies. When I don't have 3 goalies, I lose one every year. So I run 3, and then no one ever gets hurt, and I have too many goalies. I'd rather have that than not enough goalies.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's like the complete opposite of how I draft. My strategy is always to draft goalies last, and I always end up with waiver wire goalies by the end.
Yeah. Which I've tried that strategy multiple times in different pools, and it's never worked out for me. Like in my other pool right now, I have Varlamov, Rittich, and can't remember.
See, if I was in that pool, I would have already moved on from Rittich, though.
Yeah, but there's really nothing. I mean, he's still ranked 71st.
Okay, fuck that.
And Dubnyk are my 3 goalies.
Okay.
And just for quick reference sake, on free agent goalies, the best available are Halak, Khudobin, Samsonov, Allen, Dredger, Ranta, Grice,
So all
Reimer,
backups.
Allmark, Blackwood, Primo, Gorgiev,
Yeah.
Shesterkin, Talbot. That's like me reading down. So like there's really nothing there to get. So that's kind of why that sucks. But yeah, my strategy every time I go like, I'll deal with goalies when I need to deal with them. I'm locked in fourth place in that pool. 6 teams make it. There's 2 buys at the top. I can't reach the top. I can't fall out of the bottom. So I'm just like, well, just ride it on out with these guys for the rest of the year. So whatever.
After our trade, it didn't even take Nick. It took him about 24 hours to respond to you.
Yeah.
And then he picks up John Tavares he essentially gave up the same picks you did for John Tavares. He got a little bit better picks in return than you did.
Yeah. But Tavares is not the same player Kane is.
Yeah, I'm surprised that this is what he did, to be honest. I know he's doing everything.
I think that's all he could.
He could have. He asked me about Stamkos, but never sent me an offer.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would have moved Stamkos because, believe it or not, I'm still going to win this thing.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I like the pool setup. I know a lot of people hate it, but I personally like it. It's been fun. Yeah, it's been fun.
It's been all over the place and like active, and I like it. I think it'll be even better when Jesse steps in too.
Yep.
Nothing against Brad, but just activity's better.
Yeah, it will be because I already think I have a deal lined up for him for when he comes.
Yeah,
because
What are you gonna trade him, Michael?
Yeah, I'm gonna go after his assets by giving him Michael.
Yeah, I figured.
That's the plan. We'll see.
I got lots of plans, so.
Yeah, he'll be good to add in the mix for sure. A different perspective in the fact that he's from a different hockey town than all of us.
Exactly. That's the best thing.
Let's just get to this last trade again. Nick is at it again. He's trading off Kadri and Duclair. I knew he held Duclair longer than expected.
Yeah, he did.
And he actually gave up. Well, this is where it's kind of weird. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Maybe you have a better grasp of it. 11, 13, and 13 going to goalies, and he gets a 9. So technically, Nick gets a better draft pick back.
Yeah.
Because to me, round 13 and round 14, basically the same.
It's the same shit.
So
after round 10, like once 10's concluded with the free agent stuff, round 11 and beyond, it's the same shit.
So I guess goalies here is strictly he's just trying to get some depth to his team.
I guess.
I don't know. He basically
got Kadri was a free agent.
They both were free agents, and they were both ready to be free agents again within a week.
Yeah.
As soon as Nick gets in a tough spot, he's dropping one of those guys for a spot start. So
yeah, if not both.
I think Nick's done that a couple times to a couple people this season.
Yeah,
so.
I've done it as well. I mean, you might as well. If you're going to drop somebody, you might as well ask around and see if somebody wants to give you anything.
And that's exactly what I was doing with Edler earlier in the season. So.
Yeah. I would have been like, I won't give you nothing for him. I don't even want him on my team, but
Edler?
Somebody might. Because I'm not carrying 3D, right? Because I have 3 goalies. So the logical first thing is to drop is that third D.
Yeah, I had 4D.
That's the only reason why.
4D playing on my roster. One was in a utility spot at the time I traded Edler.
I considered grabbing Werenski, and then now Werenski's tearing it up against me.
If I could do it over again, I wouldn't have been so eager to trade for Trouba. But I know long term it's going to pay out.
Yeah.
Because
he's a beast for shots and blocks.
He's going to be
the
cheapest keeper cheapest keeper defenseman in the entire league right now.
Yeah. I'm starting to think I might not even keep Doughty.
Yeah, it's interesting how week to week your outlook on everything changes. Like mine as well.
Yeah.
Like, people I was for sure keeping, I'm like not so sure now, and it's all going to come down to I've started creating a projection of where the draft picks and keepers are going to be. So trying to predict where my third round picks might land and whatnot. So
yeah, it's not bad to do that once you get closer too. But like even like when I'm looking at my team, like for me, Kuznetsov is an easy decision depending on what happens. Like we don't have to pick our keepers until later on in the season. So like we're gonna know, for example, if Nick Backstrom leaves Washington before I have to decide if I want to keep Kuznetsov. So if Backstrom leaves Washington, absolutely, I'm keeping Kuznetsov. If Backstrom resigns in Washington, I probably won't keep Kuznetsov.
Makes sense.
It's as simple as that for me.
Makes sense for sure. For sure. So you're looking for a goalie. I'm looking to.
I have an offer out already.
Are you still going after Vasilevsky? Fuck, Steve's crazy if he gets rid of him.
Well, I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, "You got to think about it logically, because no, realistically, like how many teams are going to keep a goalie in the second round, regardless of who that goalie is? 0. I don't think anyone.
There is no goalies in the second round except his.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, like, if the draft was redrafted, I don't think anyone would take a goalie in the second round. I don't think anyone would take Vasilevsky earlier than
here's a prediction.
Maybe halfway through the third round.
My prediction is Rundles Puckett takes a goalie real early next year.
You think so?
Isn't he the guy that's been complaining about goalies?
Yeah, but he said that, like, they're unpredictable. So, like, that's why he doesn't want to make a move for one, because he doesn't want to trade for one and then have him turn to shit, too. So I feel like he's not going to turn around and draft one, because if he turns to shit, then he won't. Like, maybe he will, and then it burns him. Who knows,
you know it better than me, so I thought maybe he'd go for that secure lock.
Maybe he does, and then if it turns out, he'll turn him on it, or maybe if it doesn't, then maybe he'll sour him on it. I don't know. Who knows, right? But I was just saying, think about it, because, like, if you think Vasilevsky is the third round keeper now, you're not keeping him as a second rounder. So if you're putting him back in the draft, he's not a keeper. He's a rental. Yeah. So if he's a rental, I want him as a rental. I told him, I promise you I will not keep him. I will make a guarantee I will not keep him. 100% rental.
Yeah.
And he will go back in the draft.
He could get him third round next year too.
Absolutely. So I'm like, if you want him back, you're going to have one of the top picks or middle picks. Like, you can reach when you're ready for him before anyone else will. So, like, don't worry about not getting him back. So if he's a rental, I want him. If you are going to keep him, I don't have what it takes to get him.
So basically, right now you're rooting for goalies to start losing. That's what you need.
No, I'm rooting for him to decide that he doesn't want to keep Vasilevsky in the second round. I don't care how he does.
Right now he's thinking about keeping Vasilevsky in the second round?
Yeah.
I would.
And
you should be rooting for that to happen.
No, because he said that the trade offer I offered him is perfect, and it's been sitting there for 5 days now, and when he's ready to accept it, if he decides he's not going to keep it, keep him as a second, then he's mine. So I'm just hoping that Holtby turns it on, and I'm hoping that he decides he doesn't want to keep him, and then I'll have Anderson, Binnington, and Vasilevsky, which would be
if you have those three goalies, that's you're going to be good.
Good trio to have. But then, of course, does he get the win? Of course he does. So tonight, Beer has Hellebuck versus Anderson. So he gets the win. I get the the loss. He's got Khudobin versus LA. So he's probably going to go 2-0 today. I went 0-2. My goaltending stats are, what,
mediocre.
357?
These are bad.
324 goals against. Yeah, but I have 3 goalies and 3 arguably top 8 goalies.
Yeah.
Probably not in the top of that 8, but probably in the lower part of those 8. But in the last couple weeks, let me see. I haven't had a goals against under 3 in over 4 weeks. Which is bullshit.
I'm using this as a barometer. If I can beat Dylan this week, then I'm going for the playoffs and I'm going to win it all.
Yeah.
You're going to watch. Just watch. You're going to be upset.
It's going to be interesting if you start winning too much and then you're like, fuck, I got to slow down and not make the playoffs.
I'm going to, if I start winning, I'm going for the playoffs.
Yeah, you're just going to see what happens.
When's the trade deadline? It's got to be coming up. A couple weeks, right?
It's the 28th, I think, of February.
Oh, fuck. We still have 6 weeks. If
I
win 4 in a row here, You're gonna watch me turn those picks you gave me into McDavid.
February 26th. Maybe you could. McDavid will be available.
If I'm taking that spot, yeah, I gotta knock Reynolds buckets around. So
yeah. Imagine you take McDavid off him to push him into the playoffs, and then piggyback him to get into the playoffs.
It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be an exciting finish. I think I'm going to start making some content around the Scrub Dynasty. Like week to week strategies. So if you want to get the lowdown on what Scrub Dynasty's thinking and doing, that's what I'm thinking. Just like 5-10 minute thing.
Yeah.
My plans, how the week went, and where I fucked up, because I always find a way to fuck up something during a week. That usually costs me the week. I lost 2 games this season because of just stupid moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of like one of them forgetting to start a goalie. So and that was against Captain Clutch, who's supposed to be a free win.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was saying the other day, it makes me feel not very good about the fact that Nick has only lost 3 times and he has 1 tie, and out of those 3 losses, twice are to me. So only the whole pool, almost twice through, has only been able to take 3 points off of him.
Yeah, I get smacked, but no matter how many times I've played Nick over the years, he beats me every fucking time. Baseball, hockey, basketball. I don't know about basketball, but he
always beats me in standings wise. But 1 versus 1, I usually end up taking him. But that's because I'm not even lying. I build my team to go against his. So when we play, I hope to beat him. If somehow somebody takes me out before I get to him, that's my weakness.
And that person's me.
Exactly.
I always
teams built with 1 or 2 goalies, like Beers. Beers has 1 goalie. That team is my kryptonite.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have 10 extra games played, which means I got to outperform. I do have an offense that could outperform.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating because it's only 2 of them clicking at a time. Last couple weeks, Carlson and Hall have been garbage, and Liney's not been the greatest. Draisaitl's cooled way down. Malkin's cooled way down.
Yeah, you're in a close match here, and realistically, you should win saves and wins, right? So that should swap too. And if that were the case right now, you'd win. So
yeah, and that's fine with me. I'm not getting the production that I'd expect from my team.
My biggest
I know Boston's been struggling a little bit, so there's Marchand hurting a little bit, but
my biggest struggle has always been game-winning goals. For instance, I'm playing Dylan this week. He has 3 game-winning goals on 4 goals. That happens against me every time. It just seems so. That's the part that's most frustrating. I'm definitely slamming him in goalie stats this week, though.
You're in 3rd place for game-winning goals.
Am I?
In the league, you have 30.
Yeah, I don't but if you look at the actual winning of the category, I don't think I'm good, which makes no sense. The fact that you say I'm 3rd with game-winning goals, and then if you go to the league team stats,
but you're 5-8-0.
Yeah, exactly. Does that make sense? Not really.
I'm 6-5-2, but I'm 2nd last. So I have a winning record, but I'm the 2nd worst.
So that's just I always just get. Maybe it's the guys I'm against that week, just are getting the best game-winning goals they can get.
You must, yeah, because even in game-winning goals, Rundle's 7-3, Nick's 8-4. Dylan's 7-5, and then 6-4, 6-5, 6-6, 5-4, 5-8, 3-8, 3-9. So,
I win.
You and I are one different.
Yeah, it's a pretty close category, you have 1 less win. To be honest.
Yeah, it's across the board, random, but still, you never know when you're gonna get it. You could have 6 1 week and then they'll have 1 for 2 weeks.
Realistically, if you score more goals, you should get more game-winning goals. But
I'm pretty sure one of the weeks I had 6 game-winning goals. And I have, what is it? I only have 21 on the season. And I had 6 in 1 week. So over, 13 other weeks?
Yeah.
I have 15 game-winning goals, so I have basically like 1.5 game-winning goals per week. That's bullshit. Like, that's so bad.
Yeah, it's kind
Captain Clutch is the only one underneath me. But if you go to goalies, I am first place in wins by far.
Yeah.
2 goalies is the only one that can catch me, and then you're actually third place.
In what? Goalie wins?
In wins, yeah.
Let's pull this up. Goalie win. Well, yeah, well, like 5-4. No. Oh, goalie. Okay. A lot of ties.
The actual totals, the totals.
Yeah. Damn.
So you're tied, 3-way tie between you, Beers, and Nick.
My goals against average, I'm killing it.
Where is it? Oh, 253? Yeah.
I'm 10-3 in goals against average.
Save. I have 450 more saves than second place. I have almost twice as many saves as the last place team.
Who did you lose to in saves that 1 week? It says you lost at once. That's what be surprising. Where that?
I think that was an early week when I had a bunch of people not playing.
Oh, okay.
I lost to Dank in week 8. But that was before I acquired Binnington and before I acquired Anderson.
So if Dank misses the playoffs, does Jesse take over then?
Well, he'll finish out for position. So, I mean, it depends. I can ask Brad. If he misses the playoffs, I can ask him if he wants Jesse to just take over then.
Yeah.
Because you're already out on money, right?
Yeah, you can't really. There's no point.
There's no point doing anything. So, I mean, I could ask him and just say, hey, if you want me to get him to take over now, and Brad might just say, yeah, do it.
Especially if he's not even giving a shit at that point, which why would he?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Any last thoughts on Clefbaums for now?
Not really. Just looking at my win-loss for goalies, I'm 11-0-2. Or between wins and saves, which was my target, I am 23-1-2.
Sounds like you over-targeted that category to me.
That's between wins and saves, and then between goals against and save percentage, I am under 500.
Mm-hmm.
I have, what is it? It's 11-14-0.
I need your take here on the standings. Where's it ending? We got our standings here.
Standings prediction.
Yeah. Standing prediction. I need your take. Mine's going to be biased. So
I think Nick wins first.
Nick, aka Dynasty.
Dynasty first. Me second, because I can't not finish second.
Yeah, Mr. Maverick.
I have to. I have to. Beer Buds 3.
This is where it's like tight.
Joey 4.
Joey.
Yeah, Team Joey.
The guy
4.
that's made 9 moves all season.
Yep. But he's got all the right type of players. They all shoot and they all score, so fuck them. And then I think probably either you or 2 goalies. Probably either Scrub or 2 goalies.
For 5th?
For 5th.
Okay.
And then Dank for 6. And then the other of those 2 teams for 7. Dylan for 8. Rundle for 9. And Clutch for 10.
Damn, you have Rundle doing a free fall.
Because I think he's going to make some trades. I think he's going to trade McDavid, and I think he's just going to get picks.
Okay.
So it will push him down a little bit.
I think that's happening soon.
I think McDavid's going to go to Beer Buds, and Beer Buds is going to fucking take second place for me, if I'm actually being honest. I think Beer Buds is going to get McDavid, and I have Draisaitl, so that muzzles Draisaitl, my difference making against him, and he will end up taking my spot in second and push me to third. Like
Beer Buds proposed me a trade, and I'm going to put this out there because I know I doubt Beer Buds is ever going to hear this, so don't use this information against me one day. But he wanted to trade me Crosby for Stamkos and me give him a second round pick. And I just messaged him. I'm like, dude, what? What do you?
Yeah.
Why are you sending me this trade?
Yeah.
But he's of the opinion
Maybe
that nobody's out of it.
Yeah. And like, I know he doesn't want Crosby, but like, I don't know.
Why would you not want Crosby? You're in third without Crosby.
I don't know exactly.
Maybe he's.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. If you're looking at his team, Crosby's going to be back real soon. He's going to have to drop someone.
Yeah.
I assume he just drops one of his D-men. Like, really? Or Hudobin.
Well, assuming he probably Suter. I'd probably drop Suter.
Yeah, so it's not that big of a deal for him. I don't know.
Or Shattenkirk. Either of them don't need to be there.
Yeah.
But he's got Pasternak and Panarin and Nylander and Lindholm and now Kopitar and then soon Crosby. He got Helly.
Nylander sinked me when I played him.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's gonna be gonna be close.
That's why we play the games.
Yep. And it's gonna be fun because it's gonna be close all the way to the last week. Like
yep.
There's gonna be somebody pissed off. I already can feel it. Like there's gonna be somebody who's gonna lose their mind and it's probably gonna be me.
Yeah, probably. You're gonna be pissed off.
And you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna be pissed off if I don't finish top two.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be pissed off if I lose first in the round one. I don't even care about winning. I don't care about lasting longer than other people. Whatever. That's all secondary.
Yeah.
If I don't get a bye past the first round and be guaranteed Final Four, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. I should be able to walk through that round, no problem. But still.
Unless you play me.
Or Joey.
I think, yeah, you'll notice Kane on
both
your
those
team.
teams.
You'll notice.
Yeah, it just sucks because I have the three goalies, so it's like it is muzzling them all a little bit. But who do I drop? Do I drop Holtby?
Yeah, I don't know what you do in that spot. Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Hopefully, I get Vasilevsky, or maybe I'll try and dump Holtby on someone.
Yeah, you're not gonna get him over here.
Maybe I'll just dump him off on Clapton Clutch for like nothing, just so no one else can have him.
No one's gonna pick him up.
I'll just trade him, and then he can run three goalies. He can run Jerry, Rittich, and Holtby. Make him harder to beat in the consolation round.
Yeah.
Then I have two goalies.
That'll be interesting. We'll see it. Lots of weeks to go, and you guys said the trade deadline can be kind of crazy, right? So.
Yeah, usually it's people just being like, usually people try and hold and be like, oh, I got all these assets, and then time runs out, and people are like, oh, fuck it, just give me like an 8th rounder for like a 5th round talent because they just want the pick at that point, right? Or it's like you think that you'd have 3 or 4 teams like fighting over this guy, and it's like, fuck, it's one guy, and he's only offering me this pick. I'll take it. I'm not keeping this guy. I'll take it.
Yep.
So like last minute, last couple of days, it's like picks going everywhere for this guy, and then this guy's being put there for another pick. And
for, like, before we do our picks of keepers, how much time do we have to deal people in the off season?
Well, what I'm thinking of doing is, so there'll be an open window. So like you can negotiate trades if you want, but you can't consummate them until the window opens.
Okay.
Because I don't want to have to manually track shit and manually move draft picks between teams and shit. So like what will happen is Yahoo will close.
Yep.
And you can do whatever you want. You can track on a spreadsheet, whatever. You can make your trades, agree to them, disagree, wait till it's official and do it, whatever you want to do. But the thing is, my thing is if you agree between another dude, a trade, and later on you guys decide you don't want to do that trade or somebody screws each other, I'm not stepping in. that's your relationships that are now ruined. Not
Yeah,
I have
agree.
nothing to do
I agree.
with that.
That's the right take. I was
Yeah,
kind of
so that's
when I was trying to deal Kane. That was part of what me and Nick talked a lot about. Was because part of it was going to be like a trade that would be in the off season.
He told me about that part.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think that's what it kind of. I kind of shied away from that because it got really complicated to me. So I could get the same picks from you without the complications. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I went that route. And I didn't want there to be I want there to be a fight for first because if I gave it to Nick, then no one's buying anymore.
I wouldn't have bought anymore. I would have been satisfied with what I did with my picks, and I would have just taken my chances.
Yeah, exactly. So at least by giving it to you, I felt like the market stayed stronger. We'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna flip some though. We're gonna see McDavid on Scrub Dynasty before you know it.
Yeah, do it up.
That would shock the league.
It probably would.
Trade Kane, then all of a sudden he's like, oh, he's done. Oh, no way. He's got McDavid.
Nope. Imagine you go out. Yeah, I'll take Crosby and McDavid. Thanks. You come in, you just win the playoffs. That would be ballsy.
Could happen. Never know.
Anyways, man, I gotta go to bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good night. We will talk soon.
Sounds good. Hopefully, I don't lose this week.
All right. Good luck, son.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
Later.